Hare Krishna students, so welcome to the new session, and you already have your syllabus with you. So let's start by learning about our first chapter, networking concepts. So first of all, the chapter says concepts, right? So in the previous classes we learned about internet, viruses, and so many other things in previous classes. Before that also you learned about some things, internet. But at this point we are going to learn about networking. So in this video I will show you what is networking and how does networking help us in our regular life. So let us start by learning at first what is a network. So suppose you are in your home. So let us call this your home over here. This is your home. Okay, now this is suppose your school. So you have multiple methods of coming to school. You can take different routes. So as you can see, from your home I am connecting to your school via different paths. I can take this route, I can take this route, and it is completely up to me that the route I want to take. So therefore, as you can see, this particular routes join a particular two objects here. Those objects are your home and your school. Okay, next let me give you one more example. So suppose this is a bank. Let's call it SBI, and we are very much familiar with different branches of that bank. Maybe wherever you stay there may be 3 or 4 branches of the same bank, and along with that you also have different ATM machines. So here is an ATM machine, here is an ATM machine, over here we have one, over here we have one. So all these ATM machines are connected to the bank. So we are seeing these two examples where these different things, these ATMs are connected with the bank, your home is connected to schools with different paths. So this is what we call a network. That means these things are connected. That means whenever 2 or more things are connected together, we call it a network. So I'll say it once again. What is a network? When 2 or more things are connected with each other. Now it can be connected through different paths. The paths does not matter, but what we have to understand is they are connected. So therefore it forms a network. So this is what we call a network. Now if we think about network with our devices, that the devices that we use regularly in everyday life, that is mobile phone. We are very much familiar with this particular device. We are also familiar with a desktop computer. We are familiar with a laptop computer. Even we are also familiar with tablets, So these are all devices, and as we know that all these devices can connect to internet, right? So that means they are connected in a network. So now let us think about a network that we can visualize in this way. So suppose this is a server. We call this a server, and with this server there are so many computers connected, C1, C2, and we can call it up to Cn. So over here this forms one network. Why? Because all these devices are connected with each other. That's why it forms a network. Now again, suppose this is in school 1. This is one school. This school has this particular setup. Next we have one more server over here, and using the same server, this server also has C1, C2, and let's call it Cm. And suppose this is a university, so this also forms a network. Now whenever these two networks connect with each other, networks can communicate with each other, we can call that internet. So therefore, what is the definition of internet? The definition of internet is network of networks. So I just gave you an example of two networks being connected with each other, but actually in real life there are hundreds and thousands and lakhs of networks connecting with each other, creating the internet. So therefore this system, that the system of creating networks, is simply called networking. We are going to create networks. We are going to learn different types of networks, how the networks are designed, that means how the architectures of these are designed. All these things can be perfectly designed to form a network, and this forming a network is called networking. This task of forming a network is called networking. So in your book there can be different opinions may be given, such as the first line. It says a computer network can be defined as a group of computers and other peripheral devices that are linked together for the purpose of sharing data and hardware resources. So let us now explain this each and every part. So it is what it says. It says computer network. Specifically it talks about a computer network. So it says that it is a group of computers. So let us point out those each and every part so that we can understand what is a computer network over here. So it's group of networks. It says group of computers. Group of computers. Okay. Next it says other peripheral devices. Other peripheral devices. So whenever it says about other peripheral devices, what is it talking about? It is talking about a scanner, a printer, storage device. So these are some of the other peripheral devices. Now it says why are these linked together? Why are these particular devices or this group of computers are linked together? It is because we want to share data. We want to share data and hardware resources. That means these are peripheral devices are so-called resources of a system. There can be so many different other types of peripheral devices. These are not the only ones, but there are also other kinds of peripheral devices. But what it says is that we are going to share all the data along with the hardware resources. So suppose I have a hard disk. I have a hard disk that contains so many things, like suppose it has files, maybe some documents, it has some movies, it has a few songs. Okay, so these are the contents of this hard disk. Now I have a computer over here, desktop computer. I have a laptop over here. I have my mobile over here. I have my mobile over here. So what I want is I want to access the data from this hard disk. So what can I do? The one thing that can I do is I can connect the hard disk to a network, and by doing this all these devices can share the same hard disk over here. Whatever data I have in this hard disk, it can be accessed by the computer, by the laptop, by the mobile. So this is what the main purpose of a network is, to share data. And now let me give you one more example of hardware resources, sharing hardware resources. So as you can see, this same hard disk is a hardware resource and it is being shared by all different devices. So not only I am sharing the data, but also the hardware resources. So therefore here we are getting both the examples. Let me give you one more example. Suppose I have a printer over here. Now I want to give print from the computer, from the laptop, as well as I can give print from the mobile. So what I have to do, I have to, in simple words, connect to the network. I have to connect the printer to a network. Once I do that, I can give a print from this computer. I can simply send a print from my laptop. I can simply send a print from my mobile phone. So I can easily do that. So at this point I do not require multiple printers for multiple devices. In this case you have to remember that the printer must be network compatible. It means that the compute network must support, the printer must support having network connections. There are some printers that do not have direct network connection. So therefore, while purchasing a printer, if you if we do have a network at home, if we do have a network at a workplace, it is the duty of the technical person to buy such an equipment that can be networked. Here I said about a hard disk to being in a network. All hard disks cannot be given in a network. There are different types of hard disks that can be attached to a network. So in those cases we can use this kind of devices. So therefore this particular thing is something that we call a computer network. Okay, now there are some few words over here. Now means some different terms, such as this particular device over here, this particular device, this particular device, and this particular device, all the other hard disks, suppose a mobile printer, all these points, these each points that can transmit and receive data, these points are simply called nodes. Each computer, each networking device, such as a laptop, a mobile, maybe a palm top, any device that has communication abilities. A printer does not have communication abilities, a hard disk does not have communication abilities. So we cannot call these 2 points, we cannot call these 2 nodes. We can call a device node if that particular device has networking capabilities. That means it can send data as well as receive data. You might think that the hard disk is able to send the data, so why is it not a node? Hard disk is not a node because it is delivering the data only once it is asked. It is not doing anything other than that. If I am working from a laptop, I want to save some files in the hard disk, this network hard disk, I can do that. I can keep a backup of my files in a network hard disk. But we have to remember that the hard disk is not capable of transmitting data on its own. So these things should be remembered. A printer cannot transmit its data on its own. We give permission to print, then only it prints. A printer is an output device, it cannot provide anything to the laptop or mobile. So therefore these 2 devices are not nodes. We have to understand that which devices are nodes and which are not. So therefore this particular computers, laptops, mobile, or any networking device, we can call those nodes. So now as I was talking about this, from the beginning I am talking about connection, right? I am talking about one term, that is connection. So how are devices connected with each other? There are 2 methods specifically, that is a wired method where the devices are connected to each other using a wire, and the other method is wireless, where devices are connected completely through wireless. Wired can have LANs, wireless also can have LANs. So the thing is that wireless LAN is simply known as Wi-Fi, where Wi-Fi and full form is wireless fidelity. This is the full form of Wi-Fi. So we can connect mobiles through Wi-Fi. We can connect a computer or a laptop through wire LANs. It can be connected. So in this 2 ways these things can be connected. Remember that in earlier days, maybe even 10 years or 15 years ago, we still used landlines for telephone. People had telephone in their homes, and those telephones were connected with wires. So it was a wired network. So these things are basically completely wired. Nowadays we all use mobile phones, and mobile phones are connected to the mobile network through microwaves, such as suppose if there is a tower. Okay, so let's take this as a tower, and it transmits data to different mobile phones, and it uses a SIM card to understand that yes, this is a networking device. So therefore connections can be made either wireless connections or wired connections. So these are some of the things that we should keep in mind. Now for home purposes, we have a simple device, a networking device called a router a router that helps us to connect with Wi-Fi. Some of you may have this in your home, some of you may not, but one thing that each and every smartphone has is something called mobile hotspot, where your device acts as a router. Your device is acting as a router. What you are doing, you are sharing mobile data. Whatever data you are having, you are sharing that, and different devices can connect to your hotspot. So this is a simple example of wireless connections. Nowadays we try to specifically engage ourselves in wireless connections. There is one more wireless connection, such as, so suppose we all have TV, right, at home. Now do we go near the TV and change the channels? Do we? I don't think so. So what we use a remote. So the remote has infrared lights, infrared LED light, and the TV has infrared sensor. So therefore these two devices communicate through infrared lights. So this is something also an wireless connection. The same goes for home theater remotes, AC remote, or any other remote devices that you are using at home. This same thing is applicable to all the other remote devices. So these devices are also connecting wirelessly. Now many of you have used Bluetooth to transfer data in different phones. So this is also an example of wireless connection. You use Bluetooth headset to listen to music. That means through this using the headset you can simply watch movies, play games, and all the sound will be transferred via Bluetooth. So these are some of the examples of wireless networks. Now let's move on to the next page. So what are the advantages of using a network? We have to understand what are the advantages of networking. Why are we networking? What is the reasons behind for networking? So let us discuss some of the advantages. So in your book, the first point is given as efficient use of storage media. I already showed that, right? Using the hard disk, it is efficiently using. We don't need to continuously use multiple hard disks to store data. We can centralize all the storage of data by giving a network hard drive. So it is efficient use of storage media. Next we have preserving information. This is also more or less same. It's like I want to keep a backup of my data. I already said that I want to keep a backup of my data. Now we also have, for example, preserving information. Now let us take an example that we regularly use over here, that is Google Drive. So by using this particular online service, we can store some of our very important data online so that we can access the data anywhere, any place, anytime. I just need a mobile or a laptop or a desktop computer to get connected to internet. I can simply access my account information and I can access my Google Drive from anywhere. It is available as website apps, web app. It is available in our mobile as mobile apps. So I can simply upload and download data from any location. This is something we can relate to while preserving information. Next one, we have reduction in hardware cost. So let's just think about in an office there are so many computers and each of them may need to take printout, to take scan. So what if we take a single printer and connect it to a network? I already said that. So in that case, we do not need to connect or buy multiple printers for each and every device. So it reduces the hardware costs. It helps us to reduce those hardware costs. So this is something very important for any business, any office, that the administrative costs to be reduced. If the devices are properly networked, it can be reduced easily. The next point is efficiency. So now the thing is that the term efficiency is in terms of using the system. So suppose we have a server that was running for maybe 5 years. It was already running for 5 years. Now in 5 years there has been so many changes to the software. So what we need to do is we need to upgrade to increase the efficiency of the server. Now while upgrading the server, the nodes are not affected. We just need to update and upgrade the server. All the devices that are connected to the server will be updated automatically. If there is an update required for those devices, we are upgrading one system, and after upgrading the server, it is going to push the updates. It is going to push the updates to all the connected devices. So this is what happens. Just think about your mobile phone. You do receive updates from maybe Play Store, or maybe if you are whatever devices you are using, maybe Samsung mobile, maybe LG mobile, or MI phones, you get software updates, device updates. So by updating your devices, does any of the apps create any problem? All apps are updated along with it. That yes, this update has been provided. We are getting a new Android version. Maybe some very old softwares or old apps may not run, but more or less if we update those apps, it is going to run. And once it updates the system, it shows that these and these apps needs to be updated so that we can use those apps at their full functionality. So these are some things that we really should think about whenever we are talking about efficiency. The next point is redundancy. Now usually the term redundancy means duplicate. Okay, so suppose think about a practical application, such as I used to take your exams using Google Forms. Some of the previously I had taken, or maybe different teachers had taken some quizzes through Google Forms. So how many times did I need to create a form for each and every one of you? I just had to create one form, and what I did was, just think about the attendance form also. I just created one form and I shared the form with you. I did not need to copy the form for each and every one of you so that each and every one of you have your own files. I did not do that. What did it save me? It saved me from collecting redundant data, duplicate data. Each and every file is having same information. Why do I need to keep multiple files with same information when I can keep all the information in a single file? So this is something that we should keep in mind while working with redundant data, redundant files. If we have so many files, if we have so many same kind of data in different files, we try to reduce those duplicate files, and I can keep the files in servers. We have Google Drive and online storage, OneDrive by Microsoft and online storage, and there are so many online storage applications where we can store the data once and we can share it. Sharing does not mean that we are creating a copy of it. Sharing means we are sending a link to this particular form or to a particular file. Think about the videos that I had sent you in so many videos throughout the year. Even think about this video. I'm just going to upload it to Google Drive, and after uploading to Google Drive, I'm going to share a link with you. I'm not going to share this video with each and every one of you. The size of this video is going to be nearly about maybe 200 MB in size. So sending a 200 MB file to each and every one is just ridiculous. So what I'm doing, I am just sending a link to that file. I'm sharing a link of this file, and with this link, what you can do is you can simply watch the video. You can use it for your examination purposes, maybe for forms, exams you are using it. So therefore what I'm doing is I'm reducing duplicate data or redundant data. The next point we have is quickest document delivery. Now we can talk about this as quickest document delivery. This particular point directly talks about emails. Okay, we can use a network to create emails. We can use it for our own purposes. We are sending mails, we attach documents with our mails, and we simply send it. And how much time? Maybe a minute it takes to reach you. So this is something that we easily can say about emails, quickest document delivery. Or suppose if you are trying to get a document from attached storage device or maybe a attached hard disk. So instantly you can get an access to that particular document. Maybe it can be a music file, it can be a movie file, it can be a Excel, Word, PowerPoint file, and you are getting an instant access to that system. So therefore these are some of the examples of quickest deliveries. So today I will be ending the video over here, and till now whatever I have said, if you have any doubt you can post it. If you have questions regarding the network, not only this whatever I have taught, if you have any questions regarding the thought about networks or any communication devices, you can you always know that you can send me in those questions in either in WhatsApp, or you can just post those questions in the class section. It will be much easier if you post in the class section. I can answer those questions, and it would be beneficial for those questions to be seen by everyone in the class. So I hope everyone is watching this video in your class, and this is a very important thing. Thank you so much.